In this video, you will find out what exactly anxiety is, where it comes from, how it differs from a feeling of stress, and how you can cope with it and leverage it for your benefit. In order to understand all these, I would like to introduce you to Pierre. Pierre has just turned 28 and got his first promotion as a senior software engineer. Meet also Olive, Pierre's wife. They have recently engaged and planning to have a baby soon. It seems that things are going pretty well for Pierre. But Olive is concerned. She discovers too often when she falls asleep that Pierre stays awake until late hours and endlessly scrolls his social feed with no purpose or carries away with some dummy Netflix series, having trouble falling asleep and waking up early in the mornings. Slowly and steadily, the situation gets worse. Pierre is unable to show up on time for his new job because he is too tired to wake up early. They decide to see a psychologist. Not too long after, the psychologist decides that Pierre suffers from an anxiety disorder. But how could it make any sense? They wonder. Pierre's life is perfectly normal, just like anyone else. He had a healthy childhood, close friends, a loving family, and caring parents. What could possibly go wrong? They ask. Pierre got his first smartphone on his 9th birthday. Ever since, he is never alone or left bored. He always has available at hand a powerful entertainment device that keeps him busy. Back then, whenever his parents needed some evening off, they allowed him to play on the smartphone or watch videos until they came back, so he never had to cry and feel scared to be alone. The years have passed by, and this habit only grew bigger and stronger. And now, whenever Pierre has to face strangers in the elevator or on the bus, he makes sure to keep himself always distracted by the screen. In fact, Pierre had never experienced what it is like to be alone. Just like the majority of us, we always have something at hand to keep us distracted from sitting quietly for a few moments, wandering around, or just taking the time to feel what it is like to be present. There is a profound reason why we will always keep ourselves busy and distracted, from the moment we open our eyes and listen to the news to the moment we fall asleep with some stupid digital feed of stories and posts, because it feels bad. But it ain't just feels bad. It is not a transient mood or passing feeling of stress due to daily life. It is a fundamental mental state that stems from the very fact of our existence in this world. That is anxiety, and it is as itself not pathological at all, but a natural consequence of being conscious of the fact of being. It turns out, according to Heidegger, one of the most influential philosophers of the 20th century, that the only pathological behavior that drives more anxiety is trying to avoid anxiety. If only we learned how to cope with anxiety, we could leverage it to live our life to the full extent. In fact, facing and not avoiding anxiety will lead to restfulness and authenticity. By looking deep inside, we can tell that Pierre's illness was rooted in the fact that he chose not to choose himself, and thus he was lost into the they-ness, sunk up to his scalp within the everlasting demand of the others. It is now late at night, and Pierre walks downstairs to fetch the family album from the basement. Poor Pierre didn't notice that the door shut down tightly behind him. Now it's dark and late at night, and there's no chance for someone to rescue him. Pierre's stress levels climb up quickly, and he sits down, crunched and frightened, next to the door, hopelessly trying to launch back his dead phone. After not too long, the demons emerge to their full extent. Pierre stays still and closes his eyes. Soon, by just being present in this intimidating experience, the demons go away. Now Pierre is finally exposed to his bare, naked fact of existence. He faces a great void, the sound of silence. That sound discloses itself to Pierre as a fear of death. Pierre is submerged within a fundamental feeling that Heidegger calls being towards death. The rag is dropped beneath Pierre's legs, so he has no choice but to contemplate upon that feeling and weigh his own life in the light of his own death. When the hammer ceases to function, it draws from the background perception and reveals the system of relations of which it is a part, as it is directed towards a specific task. The anxiety Pierre experiences induces a similar phenomenon, but on a larger scale. Within these infinite moments inside the pit, life no longer works for Pierre. His new shiny job, his allegedly authentic ambitions, and his relationships, all these no longer make the same sense for Pierre and cease to feel like a comfort and safe disposition. In these pure moments of understanding, Pierre is finally able to see beyond the mundane daily existence and stop conceiving his life as some pale response to the they-ness requisition of society. Pierre's self-inquiry reveals the fundamental presumptions of the authentic life. First, we are thrown into the world within a specific fixation of time in history and a physical body. This thrownness dictates our identity from which we cannot hide. Second, the solid fact of our death dictates our temporality in the world. These two presumptions eliminate the false conception of endless possibilities in life and force us to live a genuine life based on our true desires and characteristics. Now the door finally opens up. A blinding light emanates upon Pierre. He wakes up and sees Olive hugging him. He holds her tightly and whispers to her ear, "Olive, remember that day we saw those dogs wandering on the streets, and I told you it's too bad no one cares? Well, it is time for me to quit my job and devote myself to helping these poor creatures."